Chapter 71. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Translator. Dragon Boat Translation Editor. Dragon Boat Translation Boom. Immediately afterward, a 50 meters long black dragon that was as thick as a water tank soared to the sky, engulfed by huge waves. It hung high in the sky. You Ruoxue, how dare you come and create trouble for me again? Have you forgotten how your companions ended up last time? The black flood dragon spoke in human language with contempt in its large eyes that were like lanterns. Yu Ruoxue smiled as she silently glared back at the black dragon with hatred. Moments later, Xiao Wuyo slowly began making his way towards the river. When he finally got close, he said out loud with a serious tone, "Black dragon, I want to borrow your pearl today." Boom! Right after he spoke, a thunderstorm exploded, and the originally clear sky suddenly became packed with dense clouds. Tisk, master is always so domineering when he's outside. Chen Chen couldn't help but sigh in admiration as he watched from the side. He probably still had to cultivate for a year or so to reach that stage. Of course, if Xiao Wuyo were to find out what he was thinking, he would become so infuriated that he would nearly vomit blood. I've met you before. Xiao Wuyo, do you really think I'm afraid of you? The black dragon sneered as the entire water level of the river rose steeply by at least 100 meters, followed by a curtain of water that covered the sky. Kid, come to me. A battle between two experts at the peak of the Golden Core realm is not a joke. Yu Ruoxue saw Chen Chen watching with great interest, and with a wave of her hand, she pulled Chen Chen towards him. Chen Chen quickly stabilized his body and said respectfully, "Thank you master's wife, but won't you help master?" Yu Ruoxue's body shook violently when she heard Chen Chen's words. She then muttered, "What did you call me? Master's wife?" Chen Chen exclaimed with an innocent look. Yu Ruoxue froze for several seconds before she suddenly burst out into laughter once again. Kid, you're much wittier than your master. Your master doesn't need my help, I cultivate water techniques, which is restrained by thunder techniques. If I forcefully intervene, it will only affect your master's performance. Seeing Yu Ruoxue smiling radiantly, Chen Chen sighed with relief. Fortunately, he did not go wrong with bootlicking. Ahem, I have some heavenly treasures here that can beautify one's face. Please kindly accept it. Of course, you look just like a young girl, so these heavenly treasures can only be the icing on the cake at best. While speaking, Chen Chen pulled out several heavenly treasures from his storage ring, which caused Yu Ruoxue's jaw to drop. Xiao Wuyo is such a daft person. How did he take in such a smart and witty boy? After hesitating for a while, Yu Ruoxue nevertheless accepted the heavenly treasures. She couldn't help herself. It was women's nature to be vain. However, she couldn't take Chen Chen's gifts for nothing in return. After putting away the heavenly treasures into her storage ring, she took out a black mask. This mask is a special product of the Yuxue clan. It can change your appearance as you wish, and it might be useful for you. Thank you, master's wife. Chen Chen was in a good mood after receiving the mask. He could use the system to find some heavenly treasures, but he could not find such items. Hence, the exchange was a sure profit for him. During their conversation, Xiao Wuyo and the black dragon had already begun to fight hard. There was a huge downpour and the gloomy clouds were rolling amidst the thunder. From time to time, small cultivators would approach to take a look at the situation, but after seeing the scene of the battle, they all turned around and left in fear. Just like that, the battle lasted for an hour. All of a sudden, the sound of the black dragon's roar suddenly filled the air. Xiao Wuyo, if you didn't cultivate the lightning method, you would never be my opponent. After the deep voice sounded, the black dragon plunged directly into the river and vanished. Xiao Wuyo, who was in the sky, immediately followed without hesitation. Seeing this scene, Yu Ruoxue exclaimed in shock, "Wuyo. There's already enough commotion. Besides, the dragon is already injured, why do you still have to chase it?" The black dragon's territory is under the water. I will kill it today. Xiao Wuyo's voice was full of killing intent, but Chen Chen, who was by the river, couldn't help but clench his fist. Master came here today with the purpose of breaking through to the nascent soul realm. The battle with the black dragon is just an additional battle. In fact, there's no need to kill the black dragon. It was enough to create an intense battle atmosphere. Once he broke through to the nascent soul realm, the movement would naturally be regarded as the aftermath of the battle by the cultivators nearby. However, now that his master was determined to go down the river, his reasoning was self-evident. He just wanted to seize the dragon pearl for himself. Thinking about this, Chen Chen's emotions became extremely complicated. Truth be told, he respected Xiao Wuyo greatly, but he didn't have a strong relationship with him. Yet, Xiao Wuyo now chose to take the risk during his breakthrough to the nascent soul realm, all because of his foundation building. That made him feel very guilty. The moment Xiao Wuyo entered the river, the entire river directly surged upwards towards the sky amidst countless dragon roars. Endless waves of water spread in all directions. However, the waves did not affect the towns in the distance due to Yu Ruoshui's presence. Unlike her previous calm and collected self, Yu Ruoshui's eyes were full of anxiety. At several points throughout the fight, she felt an impulse to jump into the river. However, after seeing the lightning in the river, she stopped in her tracks. Boom! Accompanied by an explosion, Xiao Wuyo was blasted out of the water. Amidst the water mist, Chen Chen vaguely saw that Xiao Wuyo's body had been dyed red. Before he could clearly see, Xiao Wuyo did not surge into the river again. Seeing this, Chen Chen could not help himself but yell at the river, "Master, there's no need for that. I can also go through foundation building with my own abilities." However, the lightning still flashed in the middle of the river while the waves soared to the sky. Xiao Wuyo did not show the slightest tendency to give up. I really owe him a huge favor. Chen Chen muttered to himself with a complicated expression. The battle lasted for another hour, and finally, by around noontime, the river had calmed down once again. At this point in time, the entire surface of the river had been completely dyed red, with some vaguely apparent dragon scales floating on the river's surface. A few moments later, a slightly disheveled figure emerged from the river and made its way to the river bank. "Master! You!" Chen Chen said in a shaky voice. Yu Ruoshui even rushed to Xiao Wuyo's side. At this moment, Xiao Wuyo's clothes were tattered and stained bright red. Apart from that, Xiao Wuyo's right arm was missing. Clearly, he had lost an arm during the battle. "Wuyo, how did this happen to you?" Yu Ruoshui exclaimed as he looked at Xiao Wuyo, her tone full of heartache. "If I didn't slaughter this demon dragon, how would I be able to break through to the nascent soul realm?" Xiao Wuyo did not mean what he said. He quickly sped up and scurried toward Chen Chen while an unspeakable smile appeared on his pale face. He then used his only arm to place a fist-sized black pearl in Chen Chen's hand. "Disciple, this is for you. With this dragon pearl, you should be able to break through to the foundation establishment realm." "Master, your arm. Don't worry, with the heavenly spirit bell stalagmite, it will recover soon." Xiao Wuyo said as he took out the heavenly spirit bell stalagmite from his storage ring and gently took a mouthful of it. After looking at Xiao Wuyo who was shivering, Chen Chen glanced at the dragon pearl in his hand. At this moment, Chen Chen genuinely regarded him as his master. Chapter 72. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Dragon Boat Translation Editor. Dragon Boat Translation. After drinking the heavenly spirit bell stalagmite, a burst of majestic vitality erupted from Xiao Wuyo's right arm and a new arm soon grew out. Chen Chen was relieved to see this. The heavenly spirit bell stalagmite had indeed lived up to its name, being a heavenly treasure. Not only could it heal Xianxia's damaged heart, it even allowed his master to regrow his missing arm. "If I had known earlier, I would have given master a little more." Now, however, he was too embarrassed to give him more. After all, he had said before that he only had a limited amount. He could only make up for it later in other aspects. Heavenly Spirit Bell Stalagmite. Wuyo, where did you get such a good thing from? Yu Ruoxue leaned over, most of the worry in her tone dissipating. I obtained it by chance, Xiao Wuyo answered with a smile, not mentioning Chen. Humph, since you're okay now, seize the time and break through. Yu Ruoxue could tell with a glance that Xiao Wuyo was being perfunctory, but she didn't take it too seriously and simply humphed coldly. Xiao Wuyo nodded slightly, looked at Chen, then instructed, Disciple, when I transcend the thunder tribulation later on, it will be the time when the thunder spirit chi in heaven and earth is the densest. You will build your foundation at that time, understand? Understood. Chen answered solemnly, gripping the dragon pearl tightly. Hearing Chen's answer, Xiao Wuyo turned to look at the distant sky. His eyes became solemn and he murmured incessantly, I, the 28th generation disciple of Tianyun clan, Xiao Wuyo, am talentless, but I'm breaking through the nascent soul realm today. Ancestors, please bless me. After saying that, an unparalleled wave of ethereality erupted from Xiao Wuyo's body and an invisible force propelled Chen and Yu Ruoxue into the distance. Immediately afterwards, a golden elixir covered in lightning slowly flew out from Xiao Wuyo's body before being suspended in mid-air. As soon as the golden elixir appeared, the sky immediately became gloomy, the rolling clouds converging towards the top of Xiao Wuyo's head. Even Chen, who was far away, could sense that an inexplicable force was causing the sky to quake, as if it would descend into the world at any moment. Boom! With a loud thunderclap, a sanguine lightning bolt suddenly appeared in the sky and struck Xiao Wuyo's golden core. His body quivered violently, and his face turned slightly pale, but the look of certainty in his eyes remained. The lightning bolt seemed to have opened Pandora's box, and the following lightning bolts came one after another, each one denser than the one preceding it. They all surged into the golden elixir that came with lightning. Soon, the golden elixir was covered in cracks. At this juncture, the thunder ethereality between heaven and earth had also reached its highest point. Without needing to be reminded, Chen swallowed the dragon pearl, which was nearly as big as a fist, in one go. As a ruthless person who dared to jump off of a cliff without a status of cultivation, swallowing a dragon pearl was nothing to him. Chen inhaled sharply. As soon as the dragon pearl entered his belly, Chen couldn't help but inhale, clearly feeling the dragon pearl vaporizing directly after entering his body. A massive, indescribable wave of ethereality rampaged through his body. That feeling. It was like drinking 10 liters of soda in one sitting. All sorts of gases would rampage in one's gut, but outsiders would never understand how it felt. He could withstand the impact because he had a special constitution. If ordinary Qi cultivators, or even cultivators at the Foundation establishment realm, attempted to do this, they would probably die after swallowing the dragon pearl. Bang! A few moments later, Chen looked up at the sky and let out the sound of a dragon roar. The violent ethereality rampaging inside his body finally drew out the 2 vortexes of the Tianyun Divine Thunder technique. They also began fusing. Chen understood that he was going to start foundation building. What is going on with this kid? Yu Ruoxue asked, her jaw dropping at the sight. She had been paying attention to Xiao Wuyo, but she was now shocked by the commotion Chen had made. To be honest, she hadn't noticed what Chen's status of cultivation was early. However, she realized that Xiao Wuyo seemed to have mentioned the word foundation building. Is this kid going through foundation building? Yu Ruoxue wondered in disbelief. Who would cause such a huge stir during foundation building? She didn't cause so much of a commotion when she reached core formation back then. However, before she could understand the situation, a bright stream of light suddenly emanated from Chen's body and he was instantly illuminated, while the ethereality between heaven and earth began to surge towards him like the water of 100 rivers surging to the sea. Even Xiao Wuyo's tribulation clouds began to move towards Chen Chen from afar, as if they were attracted to him. Huff. After a long time, Chen Chen exhaled and the light in his body finally dissipated, while the two vortexes in his body also fused into one, emitting an ethereality that was several times stronger than before. Once peace was restored, Chen Chen looked up at the sky, after which his body floated upward. After stepping into the Foundation Establishment realm, he had gained the ability to fly. During Qi training, the total amount of ethereality was large, but the degree of coalescence was not as good as when one was at the Foundation Establishment realm. Hence, before reaching the realm, one was unable to fly. Now that he had gained the ability to fly, he would be able to use the system over 10 times more efficiently than before. Host, you have forged the foundation of the Great Tao, and the tracking range has been increased to 30 meters. Host, you are also rewarded with a chance of lucky tracking. Hearing the system alert in his mind, Chen Chen was first happy, then confused. What on earth is lucky tracking? It hadn't appeared before. Lucky tracking begins. After the alert, Chen Chen felt a pop-up screen quickly scroll through his mind. It was so fast, he could only vaguely see some fragments. Track down a person of the opposite sex that best matches the host's aesthetic standards. Track a set of techniques that the host subconsciously likes the most. Track a divine soldier that is the most compatible with the host. Track an underling who will be pleased and concede to the host once he sees you. Staring at the pop-ups, Chen Chen was dumbfounded. What are all these? Before he could get a clear idea, the pop-ups stopped appearing in his head. Tracking the host's favorite food. Tracking begins. There is a 100,000.year.old muscle spirit in the boundless ocean within 2,620,000 kilometers north of the host. Host, after eating its core muscle meat, you will find it to be the most delicious food in the world. End of lucky tracking. That's it. Chen Chen was speechless, as he hadn't expected that the food that he subconsciously felt was his favorite would be tracked. But this is of no use. Millions of kilometers away. A 100,000.year.old muscle spirit. When will I be able to eat it? I can't travel millions of kilometers just to eat it, can I? And even if I do, I might be the one getting eaten, not the other way round. I'm incompetent. Chen Chen sighed in his heart. It was the saddest thing in the world. I obviously know what my favorite food is, but I might never get to eat it in this life. Fortunately, the system did not track a woman for him. That would make him feel terrible, to know of her existence but never be able to see her. Mussels may not move much in the sea, but humans would run around. Just because it had been tracked didn't mean that he would be able to find it. While Chen Chen was feeling conflicted, Xiao Wuyo's golden core finally cracked open and a tiny person who looked exactly like Xiao Wuyo wriggled out. This little man in the void had a solemn expression on his face, but due to the fact that his body was so small, he looked funny rather than imposing. When Xiao Wuyo saw the little man, a smile of relief graced his face and he saluted the little man. The little man returned the salute, then quickly wriggled into Xiao Wuyo's body. From then on, Xiao Wuyo had officially stepped into the nascent soul realm. Chen Chen's face was incredibly sullen. As a person suffering from OCD, he continuously thought of only one question. What exactly does the muscle spirit taste like? Chapter 73. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Dragon Boat Translation Editor. Dragon Boat Translation. Upon returning to the Tianyun clan, Chen Chen took stock of his gains during the trip. There were more than 100 pieces of dragon scales and half a dragon heart on the table. In addition to that, there were 100 pounds of dragon meat in his storage ring, with even more in the kitchen. After the demon dragon was beheaded, the demon dragon's body sank into the river and Chen Chen took all of those things away with him. However, he didn't have the cheek to take too much, only taking a little. The rest was split between Xiao Wuyo and Yu Ruoxue. If nothing went wrong, the standard of the food in the Tianyun clan would be raised a notch for a bit in the future. Of course, in addition to those items, there were also 7 or 8 storage bags in Xianxia's storage ring and another storage ring, all of which he found in the dragon's cave in the bottom of the river using the system. However, he was not in a hurry to open the treasure chest, as he felt that Zhang Ji was a better candidate for opening it. "Master, what are these mussels for? There doesn't seem to be anything peculiar about them," a puzzled Wuxia, who was in the kitchen, asked. Generally speaking, the ingredients she used were all heavenly treasures that Chen had obtained. It was the first time that something as lowly as mussels had appeared in the kitchen. Hearing this, the corners of Chen's eyes twitched. God knows why he wanted to pick those mussels. He had just subconsciously picked them up. "Nothing, just cook it with the dragon meat." "Okay, master," Wuxia acknowledged obediently. Now that Chen had the power of the dragon, she was more and more scrupulous towards him. Besides, by following Chen, she actually got to eat demon dragon meat. She was pleased with such treatment. In the past, she wasn't willing to cook and study under Chen's orders, but now she was willing to do so. Just as Chen was packing everything up, a familiar voice came from outside the courtyard. "Successor. I have something important to report. Please come in." Without waiting for Chen's response, the little morning glory took the initiative to speak up and welcome the guest. Hearing the voice, a slightly lewd figure trotted in, stopping in front of Chen. "Wang Feng, what can I do for you?" Chen was a little curious when he saw who it was. After he was taught a lesson last time, he was as well behaved as he could be with the Tianyun clan. He even helped the newly initiated outer clan disciples from time to time, making the jaws of some of the elders of the Tianyun clan, who knew him, drop. "Successor, the Wuxia clan sent me a message yesterday to inform me to keep a close eye on you during this month to prevent any swapping." Wang Feng answered nervously. Upon hearing his words, Chen seemed to be deep in thought. A month later, the new king of the state of Jin would be enthroned, and logically speaking, he would be making a trip to the capital of the state of Jin. Besides, the Wuxia clan had instructed Wang Feng to keep an eye on him. The meaning was very obvious. In a month's time, the Wuxia clan would probably create some trouble. The most likely possibility would be that they would hold him hostage. That was still a relatively gentle scenario. A harsher one. Chen did not continue to think about it. "I know. You may leave. You have done a good job this time. As long as you continue to persevere, there'll definitely be a way out for you in the future." "Thank you, successor." Wang Feng bowed to Chen before leaving the courtyard of the main peak. After he left, Chen frowned slightly. In the past, he was not concerned about the affairs of the Tianyun clan, but now, he was thinking of sharing the Tianyun clan's burden every day. To be honest, it was still too relaxed in the Tianyun clan, mainly because the management model was too backward. In the novels of his previous life, they would often conduct inner and outer clan assessments to boost the cultivation enthusiasm of the inner and outer clan disciples. But what about the Tianyun clan? Disciples whose status of cultivation had reached a certain standard would be promoted to inner clan disciples who were ranked according to status of cultivation. Additionally, the substantial benefits were not great either. What was the point of the ranking? It's so backward. It's time to put my management experience from the modern world to good use. Chen sighed, took out a pen and a piece of paper, and began to write with vigor. In his previous life, he had lived to his 20s and been a manager of a foreign enterprise. He was doing rather well, very experienced in transferring staff and brainwashing them. Hence, it didn't take long for him to list dozens of reform programs. Since he was pressed for time, it was better to implement some of the programs sooner rather than later. Chen sorted through those programs before going to the clan master hall. In the future, if there was anything that he wanted to add or something that wasn't suitable for the Tianyun clan, he would just make a few trips. When he arrived at the clan master hall, he realized that Xiao Wuyo was cultivating. With his talent, he could have broken through to the nascent soul realm long ago, but because of the Wuxia clan, he froze and suppressed himself for decades. With how much he had accumulated, he immediately broke through to the peak of the nascent soul realm. With the remaining heavenly spirit bell stalagmite, he felt that he would be able to step into the mid-nascent soul realm in a short period of time. Hence, he cultivated non-stop after his return. Noticing that Chen had arrived, Xiao Wuyo slowly opened his eyes. He was very satisfied with this disciple of his. Although Chen was only at the early stage of the foundation establishment realm, the degree of condensation of ethereality in his body was no less than the peak of that realm. This ability. In the Tianyun clan, other than him and a few of the supreme elders, there were very few people who could reach that realm. Disciple, is there any confusion? Xiao Wuyo asked, seeing Chen's gloomy face. Master, here's the thing. In order to deal with the Wuxia clan, we must improve the overall strength of the Tianyun clan. Also, to make the Tianyun clan stronger, we need to enhance the aggressiveness of the disciples, as well as the elders. After some observation, I discovered that there are many internal management loopholes in the Tianyun clan at the moment, and everyone here isn't ambitious enough, so I'm here to suggest some areas for improvement. Chen's tone was serious and earnest as he spoke, causing Xiao Wuyo to laugh after hearing his words. My disciple was born in a village, so by right, he shouldn't have much knowledge. Yet, here he is, thinking about how to manage the sect. Disciple, do you know about management? Ahem, I know a little. I helped the village chief manage the village in the past, Chen said with some embarrassment. There was a peculiar expression on Xiao Wuyo's face after he heard those words. How is managing a village the same as managing a clan? However, it's good that he has such thoughts. After all, he has to take over my position as clan master of Tianyun clan in the future. There's no harm in starting to learn right now. Back then, he had also learned from his master for a period of time. In fact, he still had a copy of Clan Master Essentials, which his master had given him. Forget it, I shall give this kid some guidance. In the future, I'll also impart the Clan Master Essentials to him. After thinking about it, Xiao Wuyo said with a faint smile, feel free to voice any suggestion that you have. Upon hearing this, Chen took out a piece of paper, entirely covered with words. I've roughly listed 32 of them. Master, please take a look. Xiao Wuyo's hands trembled after hearing his words, shocked. I know this kid is serious, but 32. Are you kidding me? The rules of the clan are the result of the hard work of successive clan masters over many years. How can there be so many loopholes? Besides, other clans are very similar to us. However, he was afraid of being Chen's wet blanket, so he didn't show a look of dismay. Instead, he took out the Clan Master Essentials from his storage ring and handed it to Chen before taking Chen's proposal. Disciple, take a good look at this book. It will be of great use to you in the future. Now, I shall see what you have proposed. Chapter 74. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Dragon Boat Translation Editor. Dragon Boat Translation. Chen grabbed the Clan Master's Essentials, roughly understanding what it said after giving it a casual glance. Its content level was similar to the imperial mind techniques of the patriarchal dynasties in the previous world. However, it was not as detailed as the emperor's mind techniques. It was mostly just vague logic that seemed unclear. It couldn't be helped, since people who cultivated immortality enjoyed such fancy things. At the same time, Xiao Wuyo was looking at Chen's suggestions. Chen seemed to have been worried that he couldn't understand the meaning behind some of these suggestions, giving detailed, 100-word long introductions and explanations for each of them. Looking at his clear line of thought, Xiao Wuyo's expression changed again and again. At this time, there was only one sentence that was running through his mind. So we can do that. As the clan master, he was definitely a smart person, able to tell with some deduction whether or not Chen Chen's suggestions would work. However, wasn't his disciple born in a village? How could he think of so many extreme and unscrupulous means? Could it be that there really was such a thing as a natural talent in this world? Thinking of this, Xiao Wuyo subconsciously raised his head to look at Chen Chen, only to see that the latter was reading the Clan Master Essentials. He couldn't help but blush. The difference was too big. At this moment, his Clan Master Essentials seemed to be for amateurs. Without hesitation, Xiao Wuyo released powerful ethereality with a solemn expression, immediately after which the Clan Master Essentials in Chen Chen's returned to his storage ring. Ahem. I passed you the wrong one. The Tianyun clan's copy of the Clan Master's Essentials seems to have gone missing. As for these suggestions of yours, well, they are very good. However, many of them are not apt for the current situation of the Tianyun clan, such as a few of the incentive measures. To be honest, the Tianyun clan can't afford to give away that many spirit stones right now. As soon as Xiao Wuyo said those words, Chen Chen interjected, Master, there's something I forgot to tell you. The outer clan disciple Zhang Ji found the ore of a spiritual rhinoceros in a desolate mountain in the Tianyun mountain some time ago. The reserves are satisfactory and can meet the needs of the Tianyun clan at the moment. Xiao Wuyo was stunned by those words. The spiritual rhinoceros ore was a necessary item for refining spiritual weapons and magic treasures. It was also worth a lot of money, so if they really found the ore, it would bring them a massive amount of wealth. Is Tianyun clan really blessed by heaven? He wondered. In that case, the matter will be left to you. Just remember to discuss everything with the elders, as there are some things they would know better than I do. Let me know the reserves in that spiritual rhinoceros after you explore, Xiao Wuyo said very decisively after a long period of silence. The Tianyun clan was on the verge of collapsing, so he didn't mind letting Chen Chen go through that hassle. Haha. Master, you're very wise. Chen Chen laughed out loud and turned around to leave the clan master hall. Staring at his disciple's back, Xiao Wuyo's gaze became somewhat complicated. His disciple was heaven's favorite, but his wit still had to be nurtured. For example, Chen Chen suggested setting up 1 or 2 more apprenticeship points in Jizhou and strict inspections for things like robbery and murder along the way to ensure the safety of mortals who come to test their qualifications. Putting it simply, he believed in human manpower more than immortal powers. Humans surpass the will of heavens. That is the claim of the demon clan. Xiao Wuyo sighed lightly before continuing to cultivate. 3 days later. On Tianyun Mountains, there was a group of outer clan disciples digging for mines on the spiritual rhinoceros peak. The spiritual rhinoceros peak was originally just a desolate mountain, but it earned its name after the discovery of the spiritual rhinoceros ore here the day before yesterday. Ah, we used to be able to earn spirit stones just by fetching water, but now we have to mine. Exactly. Fetching water might not be easier than mining, but mining is too dirty. A few of the outer clan disciples were complaining while mining. In the past 2 days, there had been a lot of rules implemented in Tianyun clan, among which the old system of fetching water to obtain spirit stones for the outer clan disciples who did not have a status of cultivation was changed to a new one involving mining. Some male disciples were fine with it, but how could the female disciples stand it? After coming out of the mine, they would be covered in soot and look like apes. However, it happened that they would be able to earn plenty of spirit stones after mining. Although their minds said no, their bodies really wanted it. I heard that a big figure in the clan wants to reform the Tianyun clan, even implementing an elimination system. Rumor has it that those who fail to achieve a status of cultivation after 2 months will be expelled from the sect. Cultivation is not easy either. I heard that we have to be ranked according to our status of cultivation. Those at the bottom of the ranks will get special subsidies from the clan, but if you still don't have a status of cultivation after 2 months of being subsidized, you have to go to the mortal world. Yes, I also know about the ranking system. The elders and the clan master are included too. Do you guys know that Elder Zhou of the outer clan has been sulking all day after learning that he had been ranked behind a few inner clan disciples? He's been making things hard for us every day. A few of the outer clan disciples were getting angrier and angrier, wishing they could find the person who had started the reform and give him a harsh scolding. I heard that it was the Grand Elder's idea. Is that so? Yes, it's spreading all around the sect. Apart from him, no one else has that capability. The Grand Elder. F******. A group of outer clan disciples cursed, turning their grief and anger into power, mining the ores one after another. At this moment, a female disciple was looking at the top of a mountain in the distance, her eyes full of admiration. Look, you guys, the successor is coming to send us drinks again. The group of outer clan disciples all looked at the mountain top upon hearing this, only to see a young man dressed in fluttering, white clothing looking at them with compassion. The successor is just too nice. He's understanding towards us outer clan disciples and sends us food and drinks every day. A female disciple with a sullen face was moved to tears. When she wiped them away, her tears mixed with the dust without her knowledge. These days, the successor has been offering us the best things. Compared to the Grand Elder, the successor is so much better. If only the successor could become the clan master soon. Shoo, keep your voice down. If the Grand Elder hears you, you will be skinned alive. He mentioned in his reform that strength is the most important thing in the Tianyun clan, and only the one who comes in first place can become the clan master. Damn it. This is horrendous. This is deliberate suppression of the successor. At the same time, in the Tiandu Peak Elder's courtyard, the Grand Elder was sulking, fury apparent in his eyes. There were several other elders beside him who looked very innocent. Bang! At that moment, the Grand Elder stood up abruptly and smashed his most beloved teacup. Who spread that rumor? Who said that I initiated the reform? A few elders looked at each other, wanting to say something, but did not end up doing so. However, one of them finally mustered up some courage and said, I guess it was the successor. At that time, he asked us to issue orders, but I did not think much of it. Now, the more I think about it, the more I find that something is wrong. Chen, that brat. He's being so unruly just because he has the support of the clan master. He framed me. This is outrageous, the Grand Elder cursed angrily. When he went out in the past few days, he had to face the peculiar gazes of all the disciples. Sometimes, they would even curse him while discussing things amongst themselves. How could his pride allow him to bear that? No, I have to find a way to get rid of the blame and clear my name. That brat Chen is horrible. While cursing, the Grand Elder tried to think of a solution. At this moment, another elder entered the room with an anxious expression. Senior brother, Tiangang cannot accept being ranked behind Chen and went to challenge Chen at the spiritual rhinoceros peak. What should we do? The elder's eyes flickered upon hearing his words. In the past 2 days, the clan members had come up with a power ranking. Chen was extremely thick-skinned too, arranging for him to be in 10th place. Apart from the clan master, there were 5 supreme elders in the clan, thus taking up 6 places. As the Grand Elder, he was ranked 7th, while the Punishment Elder was ranked 8th, followed by the Alchemy Elder, who was ranked 9th. Next was the 10th place. This kid only joined the clan a short period of time ago and he has given me such a low ranking. Isn't he thick-skinned? He's so thick-skinned. Thinking about this, he sneered, ordering him, let Tiangang go. That bastard Chen set his own rules. The disciples are allowed to challenge each other. If Tiangang challenges him, it won't be considered an offense and the clan master cannot say anything about it. The elder who had just entered was incredibly anxious. Sun Tiangang was the eldest disciple of the clan and he had entered the middle stage of foundation building a long time ago. However, Chen Chen had been initiated only a few days ago. Grand Elder. Chen Chen is the future clan master. We have to show him some respect. When the Grand Elder heard the word respect, he lost his temper and cursed, "Respect, my foot. That bastard Chen Chen needs to be taught a lesson. Leave him alone. Let Tiangang challenge him. Let him shoot himself in the foot." Chapter 75. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Dragon Boat Translation Editor. Dragon Boat Translation. After hearing his words, the elders fell silent, knowing that the Grand Elder was really furious. It might be a good idea to let the successor suffer a little setback. He hadn't become the clan master yet, but he had the audacity to frame the Grand Elder. Wouldn't things get worse once he became the clan master? Wouldn't he torture them every day? On the spiritual rhinoceros peak, Chen Chen was distributing spiritual water to a group of outer clan disciples. In addition to that, every time an outer clan disciple arrived, he would also pour him a bowl of chicken soup. "Senior brother, here's a piece of advice for you. You have to suffer and take hardship in order to become an elite." Successor. I'm enlightened. Junior sister, don't cry anymore. If you don't brave through the storm, you won't see the rainbow. Mining might be tough, but it trains you to be patient. Go ahead. Thank you, successor. Junior brother, if you become an immortal emperor one day, you will look back on today's experience and realize that this is a rare treasure. Become an immortal emperor. Junior sister, heaven will bestow a great task on you, but you must first be willing to suffer, have a strong sense of ambition, and work hard. The harder you work now, the more heaven will value you. The cultivators of the immortal world were simpletons who had never heard such fancy words before. Hence, they all cheered and clapped for him. Soon after drinking a bowl of spiritual spring water, they began mining energetically. Looking at the busy figures, Chen Chen sighed. They are the future of the Tianyun clan. As soon as he said those words, he heard a shout that disrupted his thoughts. Chen Chen. I want to challenge you. Chen Chen frowned and turned around, only to see the buff and burly Sun Tiangang walking towards him with a few inner clan disciples, all feisty and full of confidence. A group of outer clan disciples who had been mining also paused, looking over curiously. It's senior brother son of the inner clan. He wants to challenge the successor. The Grand Elder must be wanting to suppress the successor, so he sent his grandson over to pick a fight. No wonder he deliberately ranked the successor so far at the top. So that's the reason. Those who are ranked at the top cannot challenge those who are ranked in the bottom. The Grand Elder just wants the successor to be his grandson's stepping stone. A group of outer clan disciples muttered amongst themselves while letting their imaginations run wild. Very soon, they imagined Sun Tiangang as a villainous figure. After all, the successor is so inspirational, motivated, ambitious, eloquent, soft-spoken, and kind. He can't be a villain, right? Senior brother Sun, you want to challenge me? Looking at Sun Tiangang, who was walking up to him, Chen Chen's face was calm. Yes. There is now a new rule in the clan where disciples have the opportunity to challenge others once every 7 days. The person who gets challenged cannot refute unless he has a special and valid reason. Sun Tiangang was rather confident and self-righteous. In the past, he did not dare to beat Chen Chen because the latter's status was higher than his. Hence, if he assaulted Chen Chen, he would be severely punished for offending his superior. However, the previous rule had been abolished and the new principle of the Tianyun clan was that the strongest would be rendered supreme. Chen Chen nodded slightly after hearing this. He answered, according to the rules, you have to draft a letter of challenge. If there is no letter of challenge, I refuse to take it on. Letter of challenge. Sun Tiangang was dumbfounded. He only saw the term that stated that a challenge was permissible, failing to notice the various other restrictions. Besides, most of these restrictions were to make the disciples choose their challenges carefully, so as to save everyone's time and effort. This included drafting a letter of challenge. "Senior brother, I have a pen and piece of paper here." An inner clan disciple hurriedly took out the supplies from his storage bag, handing them to Sun Tiangang. Seeing this, Sun Tiangang's eyes lit up and he immediately started writing the letter of challenge. Soon, the letter of challenge was handed to Chen Chen. "Chen Chen, can we start the fight now?" Sun Tiangang asked, getting into the mood. However, Chen Chen shook his head. "What's there to fight about? According to the rules, fights have to take place in the designated ring set up in the clan, and a person whose strength is above the two participants must bear witness." After hearing his words, Sun Tiangang became so infuriated that he almost vomited blood. "It's just a damned fight, why are there so many things to consider?" However, he still had to comply. After thinking about that, Sun Tiangang stomped his feet resentfully and turned around to leave. Half an hour later, Chen Chen helped Xianxia to the bed. Many people had gathered below the ring at the foot of the heavenly sword peak, among which were some inner clan disciples, outer clan disciples, and a few elders. That was because it was the first official battle after the implementation of the new rule. Besides, the contestants were two of the most popular figures of the Tianyun clan. One was Sun Tiangang, the inner clan disciple with a mid-stage foundation establishment status of cultivation, ranked in the 36th place. The other was the successor, who had been initiated less than 2 months ago, was ranked 10th, and had an unknown status of cultivation. Grand Elder has arrived. Just as the crowd was waiting expectantly, they heard a voice ring out from the distance. Upon hearing this, the crowd hurriedly made away. After all, the Grand Elder was now feared by everyone in the clan. The Grand Elder walked to the ring with a sullen expression. He had no choice but to do so since his grandson had begged him to come and bear witness. To be honest, he did not plan to come out this time because he could not stand the contemptuous gazes others were looking at him with. However, Chen Chen was ranked 10th and there were only a few people in the entire clan who were qualified to be a judge and bear witness. "Participants, please come onto stage." When they arrived at the edge of the ring, the Grand Elder announced loudly according to the process. As soon as he said those words, Sun Tiangang jumped onto the ring impatiently. "Oh my God, I can finally challenge Chen Chen." He had been flying around non-stop for the past half hour. Apart from begging his grandfather to bear witness, he also went to report to the elders in charge of the ranking. On the other hand, Chen Chen did not do anything. However, heaven would never let down those who had strong willpower. By beating Chen Chen up, he would be able to vent his anger. "Both of you, bow and show your friendship," the Grand Elder ordered with twitching cheeks. It was exactly like the process Chen Chen had set up. "Senior brother Sun, please teach me more," Chen Chen said politely with a bow. Brother Chen, please guide me along." Sun Tiangang bit the bullet and forced himself to bow. At this moment, he was just scared that he might break a rule and allow Chen Chen to find an excuse not to accept his challenge. When the inner and outer clan disciples below saw that scene, most of the nervousness in their hearts instantly vanished because Chen Chen and Sun Tiangang had demonstrated the challenge process for them today. "Sun Tiangang, if you dare hit too hard, you'll get it from me." Just as the Grand Elder was about to announce the start, a woman's warning voice suddenly rang out in the crowd. Sun Tiangang was furious at hearing her words. Why was it that difficult for him to fight? However, at the next moment, his eyes suddenly lit up and he hollered back furiously, "Xianxia, according to the rules, you are disturbing the order in the ring, so you have to pay a fine of 100 spirit stones." After saying that, Sun Tiangang behaved extremely complacently. Along the way, he had studied the rules thoroughly even though he was not a studious person. At this moment, he was finally gaining the upper hand in an encounter with Xianxia. Xianxia, go pay the fine. Also, the battle in the ring officially begins, the Grand Elder humped coldly and announced with a wave of his hand. Sun Tiangang was so excited to hear this instruction that he abruptly looked up at the sky and roared, after which the ethereality in his body gushed out like a gale. He was cultivating the Tianyun Gale technique, which was the Tianyun clan's second-best technique. During a battle, the attacks would be like a violent snowstorm. On top of that, extremely powerful wind dharma spells would be cast too. With the combination of the two, a normal cultivator at the middle of the foundation establishment realm would be no match for him. The disciples below were all shocked at seeing the scene before them. Is this the strength of the inner sect's eldest senior brother? To be honest, the group of disciples in the Tianyun clan rarely had any opportunities to see a fight between experts when they were training, especially some of the outer clan disciples. Hence, they had no idea what cultivation above the foundation establishment realm was truly like. Now that they had seen how powerful Sun Tiangang was, the eyes of many disciples were full of desire, wishing that they could become that strong someday. Looking at the envy in the eyes of the disciples, the Grand Elder had some extremely complicated emotions. Although he hated Chen Chen, he could not deny that Chen Chen's reform of the Tianyun clan was leading them in the right direction. Letting those disciples know what an expert looked like would undoubtedly inspire them to become stronger. While he was thinking about that, Sun Tiangang had already charged towards Chen Chen like a storm, powerful ethereality surging out in all directions. Some of the outer clan disciples with weak statuses of cultivation were almost flipped over, falling onto the ground. They had no choice but to cover their eyes with their hands in order to catch a glimpse of the ring. With their vision blurred, they could only see a figure standing like a lone pine in the middle of the storm, his clothes rattling loudly as he stayed still. The most senior disciple of the inner clan, Sun Tiangang, was about to hit the figure with a fist that was covered in wind. At that moment, the figure suddenly stretched out his palm, a terrifying wave of ethereality that was several times more violent than the ferocious gale surging outwards. Boom! With a loud roar, the gale came to a sudden halt, the smoke and dust dispersing. In the ring, there was a singular figure still standing. Chapter 76. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Dragon Boat Translation Editor. Dragon Boat Translation. This. The crowd of inner and outer clan disciples were astonished, almost dropping their jaws. It wasn't that they didn't think that Sun Tiangang would lose, but how could it happen like that? He was gone in just one move. Where's the shocking battle we were promised? We came all the way here to watch the battle, but he vanished in the blink of an eye. Bang! At that moment, there was a muffled sound in the distance as Sun Tiangang landed on the ground more than 10 meters away. The Grand Elder immediately looked over, relieved to see that his grandson was only slightly injured. Chen Chen has shown him some mercy. The fluctuations of that blow just now made him, a cultivator who had perfected foundation establishment, uncontrollably take a step back. If Sun Tiangang was dealt a huge blow, he would suffer a severe injury, even if he didn't die. In other words, Chen Chen deserved to be ranked 10th in the Tianyun clan. Thinking of this, he looked at the young man in the ring with a complicated gaze. This kid has only been in the clan for a short period of time, but he already has such a terrifying status of cultivation. Could he be the clan master's illegitimate son, who started cultivating since childhood and was only recently brought into the clan? That's unlikely. I know who the clan master's lover is, and they definitely wouldn't give birth to an illegitimate son. However, no matter what the truth was, he still had to announce the result. Ahem. Chen Chen won this battle, so his ranking remains the same. After saying this, he left the ring, not even sparing a glance for his grandson. He couldn't help it. It was too embarrassing. It seemed that he still had to bear the blame for reforming the Tianyun clan. Otherwise, God knows what kind of beating his grandson would have gotten just now. You never accomplish success in anything. It's good for you to suffer some setbacks. After cursing his grandson in his heart, the grand elder disappeared into thin air. In the distance, Sun Tiangang was lying on all fours in the grass, looking at the blue sky and white clouds above his head in confusion. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? He had studied the process for half a day and got busy for a long time. He even wrote a letter of challenge, reported it, and begged his grandfather to witness it. What was all of that for? Was it just to get beaten up in public? Why is it that I'm the one who suffers and gets beaten up, but you're the one who gets to act impressive? This feels terrible. Thinking of this, Sun Tiangang couldn't help but tear up. There were countless questions in his mind, but the biggest one was this. Why was Chen Chen so strong? Just as he was feeling puzzled, a few outer clan disciples came over and helped him up. The outer clan disciples' faces were covered in dust and their features could not be seen very clearly, but their eyes were extremely bright. Senior brother Sun, the successor asked me to tell you that one has to endure hardships to become an elite. Failure is the beginning of success. You must get back up from where you fall. Failure is not scary, what's scary is losing the determination to strive to become better. Looking at the several outer clan disciples, whose eyes were filled with reverence, Sun Tiangang was instantly dumbfounded. Then, he rolled his eyes and passed out. Just like that, the news that Chen Chen had defeated Sun Tiangang in one move quickly spread throughout the sect. Other than Xiao Wuyo, no one was astonished or dismayed. Even if the successor started cultivating right after birth, he would only have been cultivating for less than 18 years. Yet, he still had such terrifying strength and competency. At that moment, they finally understood why the successor was the successor, while they were only ordinary disciples. After this battle, Chen Chen's prestige in the sect skyrocketed. Soon, he surpassed the respectable Sun Tiangang and Zhao Xiaoya of the inner clan, thus becoming recognized as the great senior brother of the Tianyun clan. Even some elders would bow to and salute Chen Chen when they saw him. Apart from that, the disciples of Tianyun clan were getting increasingly enthusiastic in cultivating. Coupled with an adequate supply of resources, the Tianyun clan began to show signs of prosperous development. Half a month later, Chen Chen flew at a low altitude in the Tianyun mountains while constantly using the system to track. Mine containing heavenly thunder crystal +1. 1000.year.old Angelica +1. Highly poisonous 10,000.year-old gut, breaking herb +1. Over the past half-month, Chen Chen had basically flown throughout the entire Tianyun mountains to search for and harvest some highly valuable items. However, he did not take everything, harvesting only a portion of the treasures and leaving behind some heavenly treasures with effects that were similar to ones that he already had. When he returned to the courtyard of the main peak, the morning glory wrapped itself enthusiastically around Chen Chen. Master, the spiritual spring water you gave me yesterday was quite sweet. I want to drink more. Chen Chen smiled and took out a bottle from his storage ring, pouring the spiritual spring water onto the morning glory. At the same time, the aroma of food was wafting out of the kitchen. Xianxia is indeed a smart demon. Her culinary skills are getting better and better. She can make dark materials emanate such a heavenly aroma, Chen Chen muttered to himself. At this moment, he felt somewhat satisfied. It would be great if things could go on like this forever. Of course, if he could, he would like to make his parents immortal as well. Dong. However, things didn't always go according to one's wishes. At this very moment, a melodious bell rang in Tianyun clan. Hearing this bell, Chen Chen sighed gently. The bell signaled a gathering. What was supposed to arrive did after all. As expected, Master Xiao Wuyo's voice rang in his ears the very next moment. Disciple, come to the clan master hall. Chen Chen assented, glancing at the kitchen longingly before reluctantly flying toward the clan master hall. Soon, he arrived at the clan master hall. Besides Xiao Wuyo, there was another man with a youthful face and white hair. Chen knew who he was immediately. He was the strongest supreme elder of the Tianyun clan, Zhao Wu, whose strength had reached the peak of the Golden Core realm. Disciple, the Wuxia clan's flying boat will arrive in a short while. You have to make this trip. Xiao Wuyo looked at Chen with a somewhat helpless look in his eyes. According to past practice, when the new king ascended the throne, each clan had to send their own representatives to attend the enthronement ceremony in the capital. Yet, the Wuxia clan was sending their flying boat over to pick them up right now. Master, I understand. I'm already prepared, Chen smiled and responded with a calm expression. Looking at Chen's expression with a burning gaze, Xiao Wuyo stayed silent for a long time before saying seriously, this time, Elder Zhao Wu will go with you to protect you. I've already briefed you about the precautions in the past few days, but I still want to emphasize the most crucial point once again. Regardless of the situation, living is the ultimate goal, even if you have to compromise for the greater good. Do you understand? Understood. Chen answered firmly with a solemn expression. Very good. Xiao Wuyo smiled, then turned and gave a deep salute to Elder Zhao, who was beside him. Senior, I'm counting on you to take care of this disciple of mine. Seeing the clan master salute, Zhao Wu hurriedly dodged out of the way and laughed loudly. There is no need for you to do this, clan master. As long as I'm alive, nothing will happen to this kid. Although Zhao Wu was smiling, Chen saw a trace of strong determination in his eyes, which made him feel touched. If he had been asked to do such a dangerous thing when he first joined the Tianyun clan, he would have packed his bags and run away. However, he now felt a sense of belonging with the Tianyun clan. Hence, he had no choice but to go to the capital at this time. The Wuxia clan's envoy has arrived. Everyone from Tianyun clan, hurry and receive him. At this moment, a loud and dignified voice spread across several peaks of the Tianyun clan. Chen looked over and saw a large black boat, about 300 meters long, hovering quietly thousands of meters above the Tianyun clan's mountain gate, emitting a rich glow of ethereality that covered half of the Tianyun mountains. Chapter 77. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Dragon Boat Translation Editor. Dragon Boat Translation. Let's go, let's see which member from the Wuxia clan is arriving. Looking at the giant boat, Xiao Wuyo chuckled as he made his way towards the outside of the main hall. Chen and Elder Zhao both followed closely behind him. Before long, several people had arrived before the Tianyun clan's mountain gate. At this moment, a large number of Tianyun clan disciples had already gathered at the mountain gate and were arranged to line up neatly by several elders. As an affiliated sect of the Wuxia clan, the Tianyun clan was extremely autonomous, but it still had to maintain the utmost respect for the Wuxia clan on the surface. A few moments later, an old man and a young man alighted from the black gigantic ship. The two men were both dressed in white robes with black patterns, looking rather stern and aloof. As soon as they landed, there was an apparent pressure spreading around. The crowd of inner and outer clan disciples had fear written all over their faces when they were confronted. The Grand Elder hurriedly stood out at this time to salute the old man. We welcome the arrival of the sacred envoys of the Wuxia clan with the utmost respect. The elder of the Wuxia clan nodded slightly and then cast a sweeping glance at the crowd before asking austerely, "Where is Xiao Wuyo?" "Clan master will be here soon," the Grand Elder responded with a sullen expression. It was true that the people of the Wuxia clan had arrived to pick them up and for the assertion of dominance. Otherwise, why would the giant boat over their heads continuously emit a domineering pressure, just like the two who had just alighted? They were probably out to create trouble. Xiao Wuyo is so esteemed. Ha, the elder said indifferently before closing his eyes. The young man beside him immediately understood his hint and took a step forward. Since the Tianyun clan is putting on airs, I shall see if it deserves to. After he spoke, the young man from Wuxia clan's ethereality suddenly surged, forming a powerful spiritual pressure that pressed down on Sun Tiangang, who was standing at the front of the group of disciples. No one expected that the young man from Wuxia clan would attack as soon as he arrived. Sun Tiangang gritted his teeth and exclaimed, "Peak Foundation Establishment." At the same time, he pressed his feet against his palms with great difficulty to resist the powerful pressure of ethereality. Ha! The young man from Wuxia clan laughed contemptuously as a sudden chilliness appeared in the ethereality that burst from his body. Caught off guard, Sun Tiangang took several steps backward while his face instantly became pale beyond recognition. However, the young man from the Wuxia clan did not stop because of this, and instead controlled the ethereality to cover the group of Tianyun clan disciples. "What are you doing?" A few inner clan disciples who were at the stage of foundation building hurriedly rushed to the front to block the pressure for the group of outer clan disciples. However, their faces soon turned pale as well, and those with weaker statuses of cultivation even began to bleed from their mouths. However, even then, they didn't have the intention to retreat, as there was a group of outer clan disciples behind them who would probably be seriously injured if they faced the pressure directly. "Senior brother." The group of outer clan disciples who were standing behind and being protected by Sun Tiangang exclaimed in amazement. However, there was nothing they could do to help. The contest of who had the stronger aura between two cultivators who had reached the foundation establishment realm was not something that they, outer clan disciples who were not even at the 7th tier of Qi training, could participate in. All they could do at the moment was glare at the young man of Wuxia clan furiously. "Sacred envoys of the Wuxia clan, please be merciful." The Grand Elder, who was standing at the side, couldn't stand it any longer. Even if they were asserting dominance, they ought to know their limits. Hurting others over a slight disagreement was overboard. The elder of the Wuxia clan kept his eyes shut as he responded calmly, "Duanbing cultivates the Tao of Supreme Wangqing, so he has to follow his heart. If I stop him, it will affect his cultivation, so please pardon me." Hearing this, the Grand Elder's face grew incredibly sullen. The Supreme Wangqing Tao was the ultimate discipline of the Wuxia clan, and most people who practiced it had strange temperaments, especially those with low cultivation levels who were in the middle of being emotional and ruthless. It was not surprising that such people would do something strange. But what did that have to do with the Tianyun clan? Are the disciples of the Tianyun clan meant for you to practice? Or are you punishing us because the clan master is a few minutes late? Seeing that the inner clan disciples were in danger, the Grand Elder wished to shield them. However, he was deterred by an invisible force that caused him to be immobile. Just like him, the other elders could only watch as Duanbing bullied the disciples of the Tianyun clan. At this moment, a voice full of displeasure came from afar. "Senior brother Han, what are you trying to do? Do you want to show your prowess to the Tianyun clan so soon after you've arrived?" Hearing the voice, the Grand Elder heaved a long sigh of relief. The clan master had finally arrived. "Senior brother Xiao, you finally showed up. I thought you didn't take the Wuxia clan seriously anymore. Showing our prowess. Nothing of that sort. Duanbing is just sparring with the young juniors of the Tianyun clan." The elder from the Wuxia clan, who was addressed as Senior Brother Han, finally opened his eyes as he peered into the distance. The two seemed to be having a conversation, but they actually had a collision of ethereality. Xiao Wuyo's words carried a powerful pressure as he tried to stop Duanbing, but was dispelled by the elder of the Wuxia clan. Sensing Xiao Wuyo's peak golden core power, the elder of the Wuxia clan looked slightly relieved. Seems like the rumors of Xiao Wuyo's entry into the nascent soul realm are false, unless he just doesn't care about the lives of the Tianyun clan disciples. However, I have to continue testing and sounding him out. After all, one has to be smart to be a clan master. While the elder of the Wuxia clan thought about the situation, Xiao Wuyo had already landed on the ground. Seeing that Duanbing still had no intention of stopping, he hollered in pique, "You're still not stopping, huh? Elder Han, do you want to start a war with the Tianyun clan today? There was both anger and anxiety on Xiao Wuyo's face. He was worried about his disciples but he could not do anything about it. However, Duanbing did not pay any attention to Xiao Wuyo. Instead, he got more and more excited. On the other hand, a few inner clan disciples of the Tianyun clan who had higher cultivation levels were already swaying unsteadily like a boat in a storm that would capsize at any time. At this critical moment, a figure appeared silently in front of several inner clan disciples. As soon as this figure appeared, the pressure of the inner clan disciples was relieved. Staring at that familiar back, all the disciples sighed in relief. The successor. The successor is here. Oh. You are the successor of the Tianyun clan. Hearing the way the few inner clan disciples addressed Chen, Duanbing immediately developed an interest as he converged his ethereality and placed the pressure on Chen. Maintaining a straight and expressionless face, Chen stood silently in front of all the Tianyun clan disciples. His figure resembled an impermeable wall that rendered one incapable of finding the slightest breakthrough. Interesting. Duanbing was not shocked but instead delighted. As he stepped forward, the ethereality on his body instantly soared. With the collision of their etherealities, a wave of spiritual pressure formed, setting off a gale that blew at the surrounding trees. When the internal and external disciples saw this, they hurriedly took several steps backward. Even the elder of the Wuxia clan looked at Chen in surprise. Before coming to the Tianyun clan, he had already been to 6 of the 8 clans in the north, and there was no disciple among the younger generation of the other clans who could compare to Duanbing. Good, very good. Duanbing became increasingly excited and took another step while an extreme chilliness emanated from his body, and the ground beneath his feet started to freeze. Seeing that the ground near his feet was about to freeze, Chen remained unmoved and simply raised his head to look at the sky indifferently. Boom! In the next instant, a thunderbolt exploded loudly in between the two young cultivators. The ice surface was instantly reduced to debris. Meanwhile, Duanbing's entire body was flung backward and subsequently hit a faraway tree with a loud thud. Without looking at Duanbing, who was spitting out a mouthful of blood, Chen turned around quietly and returned to the spot behind Xiao Wuyo. Chapter 78. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Dragon Boat Translation Editor. Dragon Boat Translation. The breeze blew by, and the scene was quiet. After a long while of silence, Elder Han of the Wuxia clan finally took a deep breath and said, "The Tianyun Divine Thunder technique really lives up to its name, and the successor of the Tianyun clan is no ordinary person." At this moment, he had already shifted all his attention to Chen, the newly promoted successor of the Tianyun clan. Since Duanbing could qualify to cultivate the supreme Wangqing Dao, he definitely was one of the elites of the Wuxia clan. There were few in the 8 clans in the north who could qualify to spar with Duanbing, let alone defeat him. Hence, it seemed that the successor of the Tianyun clan was not normal. "What's your name?" Duanbing, who was far away, stood up, wiped away the blood from the corners of his mouth, and looked at Chen indignantly. Chen of the Tianyun clan. After answering indifferently, Chen didn't continue to speak. In front of the outsiders, he, the successor, needed to maintain his poise and bearing, and maintain his image of being aloof. Although he did not look behind him, he could sense the gazes of admiration that were being cast at him. They were all cast from the female disciples of the Tianyun clan. Such made him feel a little delighted. This damn charm really can't be tamed. I shall remember my defeat today. I'll definitely defeat you in the future. While Duanbing taunted Chen and issued threats, Chen was busy getting amused by his own thoughts. "System, let me ask you, is there any female disciple who has a crush on me within 30 meters nearby?" "Yes, there are a total of 18. There is one girl 3 meters behind. Another one 7 meters to the left behind you. After listening to the system's reply, Chen suddenly thought of something and replied to Duan faintly. Duan returned to the spot behind Elder Han sulkily. The fact that Chen did not even take his words to heart was the reason for his frustration. Congratulations, senior brother Xiao, you found yourself a good disciple. Elder Han said with an insincere smile. Although Chen had a postnatal thunder spirit body and was very strong, he was still just going through foundation building after all. At the foundation establishment realm, he would not be able to create much of a stir. The more powerful Chen was, the more he would be valued by Xiao Wuyo. It would be more meaningful for someone who was valued by Xiao Wuyo, to go to the capital. We've embarrassed ourselves in front of you, senior brother Xiao. Xiao Wuyo said coldly. Seeing that Xiao Wuyo was already furious, Elder Han felt that there was no need to continue testing him. According to the reports from his snitches, the Tianyun clan had been behaving properly. Hence, he ought to focus more attention on the few sects that had been unruly. Thinking of this, he smiled and responded, since senior brother Xiao does not welcome us, we will just leave. The Wuxia clan is not some unreasonable clan. Your successor can bring 1 golden core elder and 2 disciples along with him. Accommodation is provided. Elder Zhao of our sect will come along. As for the 2 disciples. At this point, Xiao Wuyo slipped into hesitation. This trip was akin to a trip to the dragon's lair as it was extremely dangerous. Chen, the powerful successor, might be in danger even under the escort of a powerful expert at the Golden Core realm, let alone other disciples. If they followed Chen to the capital, they would be on the brink of death. Xiao Wuyo was not a ruthless person. He could not bear to send even the weakest disciples on a path to death. Just as he was hesitating, a voice suddenly sounded from the crowd. Big brother. I'll go with you. After speaking, Zhang Ji made his way out of the crowd and stood beside Chen. The alchemy elder who was near the 2, frantically winked at his disciple, Zhang Ji, but the latter ignored the hint. Looking at Zhang Ji who had a solemn expression, Chen patted his shoulder and said softly, good brother. Zhang Ji immediately smiled when he saw that Chen did not refuse. Big brother is indeed big brother. Not only does he understand me, but he's also not shy at all. However, he didn't expect to hear screaming from the inner and outer clan disciples not far away, as soon as he stood up. Big brother. I'll go with you. Successor. I'll go with you. I'll take care of everything and warm your bed too. Successor. I have a low status of cultivation but I am very diligent. I know that I can't be an expert until I've suffered and endured hardships. Chen was touched to see his fellow disciples competing to tag along with him. Doesn't this group of fools know that this trip is very dangerous? It seemed that he had spread and instilled too much positivity in the disciples during this period of time, so much that they had lost a sense of their own strengths. Watching them with a complicated gaze, Xiao Wuyo was heartened. He could imagine how the Tianyun clan would prosper once he retired and Chen took over as the clan master. Unfortunately, time waits for no one. If only the Tianyun clan was given another 10 years. After sighing in his heart, Xiao Wuyo looked at Chen. Disciple, since everyone is willing to go to the capital with you, choose a candidate yourself. Chen felt a little helpless. If possible, he would have just brought Zhang Ji along. He didn't see a need in bringing another disciple. However, when he saw the look on Elder Han's face, he felt compelled to bring another. Successor. Take me. Staring at the sincere faces, Chen fell into a state of dilemma. At this moment, the gigantic black boat above them slowly descended and stopped in front of the Tianyun clan's entrance. There were 6 people standing silently on the edge of the deck, watching the scene with cold gazes. I've seen that woman wearing the black veil before. She's Yulanxin, the successor of the Yushui clan. Then the other 5 should be the successors of the other sections. A few inner clan disciples whispered among themselves while looking at the 6 successors longingly. Compared to ordinary disciples, this group was much more sophisticated and domineering. The difference between them was clear. Once the elite successors of the 36 clans stood together at the capital, wouldn't they form a majestic view? They probably wouldn't dare to breathe at all. Thinking of this, many disciples who were less competent could not help but feel weak. They were not afraid of danger. Instead, they were feeling the fear of not being able to manage such a scene. Even Xiao Wuyo couldn't help but be worried. Although Chen Chen was very competent, he was ultimately not experienced in attending grand events. Moments later, Zhao Xiaoya and a few inner clan disciples who were going through foundation building were the only ones left who dared to follow Chen Chen to the event. Chen Chen glanced at Zhao Xiaoya, whose face was full of expectation. However, Chen Chen eventually looked away at the others, and finally fixed his eyes on Sun Tiangang smilingly. Junior brother Sun, we will be traveling far for this trip and the future is uncertain. The status of cultivation of the other junior sisters and junior brothers is not high enough, but you. Sun Tiangang was surprised to hear his words. He would have never expected to be chosen by Chen Chen. Logically speaking, as the first person to challenge Chen Chen, he had always thought that he was Chen Chen's rival. However, now it seemed that he had been overthinking. Who would bring their nemesis along on a trip? Could it be that Chen Chen had treated me as an underling all along? At this moment, Sun Tiangang felt a bit confused. On the other hand, Chen Chen glanced at the 6 people standing on the flying boat with a frivolous gaze. He then turned around and asked, in the clan, you're the only disciple whose status of cultivation is second only to me. Let me ask you, do you dare to follow me to the capital to take a look at the elites of the other clans in the state of Jin, and find out what is so different about them compared to ordinary people? Hearing these words, Sun Tiangang was instantly filled with excitement as he subconsciously exclaimed, what's there to be afraid of? Chapter 79 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Dragon Boat Translation Editor. Dragon Boat Translation ENVE. As soon as Sun Tiangang spoke, the corners of the Grand Elder's eyes twitched a little as he sighed helplessly. Chen Chen, on the other hand, looked at Sun Tiangang with immense relief, as if he was relieved that he didn't misjudge him. After confirming the candidate, Chen Chen made his way to Xiao Wuyo's side and whispered, Master, I'll have to trouble you to take care of the few pets in my courtyard. Don't worry. Xiao Wuyo said calmly, but after hearing his words, Chen Chen really felt much more relieved. In fact, there was nothing to worry about. Although the ochre yellow spirit and the morning glory were both fools, Wuxia was extremely intelligent. Besides, she had her own transmission token, so if she were to really encounter any trouble, she could contact Chen Chen immediately. Moments later, Elder Han of the Wuxia clan said indifferently, if there is nothing else, let's go. Chen Chen did not hesitate after hearing his words and stepped onto the flying boat quickly, with Zhang Ji and Sun Tiangang following him. Elder Zhao, who was at the peak of the Golden Core Peak realm, was the last to get on the flying boat. Immortal cultivators had all kinds of items in their storage equipment, so there was no need to prepare much for a long trip. Watching Chen Chen get on the flying boat, Xiao Wuyo had an urge to say something, but did not do so in the end. Chen Chen then turned towards his master before turning to look at the inner and outer clan disciples who were all waiting steadily like little chicks. The flying boat slowly began to rise and eventually rose to a height of 1,000 meters where it propelled off into the distance. They were on the flying boat. The people of the Wuxia clan arranged the accommodation for Chen Chen's group of 4. Heavenly Guest Room. Elder Zhao looked at the sign of the accommodation and frowned slightly. Distinguished guests of the Tianyun clan, senior brother Duan said that Saint Chen Chen's strength is amazing and he far surpasses the successors of other clans, so he is worthy of the heavenly guest room. After he spoke, the person from the Wuxia clan bade farewell to the group respectfully. After he left, Chen Chen asked curiously, what? Could it be that there is something more to this heavenly guest room? Elder Zhao nodded and said softly, "This is not the first time I've been on one of the Wuxia clan's flying boats. There is only one heavenly guest room, 4 earth guest rooms, and 16 human guest rooms on it. The Wuxia clan is being such a good host, huh?" Sun Tiangang remarked in astonishment. He thought that he would be given a hard time when he arrived at the territory of the Wuxia clan. However, he never expected to be given the best room as soon as he boarded. However, Chen Chen came to a sudden realization. He was not a fool like Sun Tiangang. Of the 8 clans in the north, the Tianyun clan was ranked second while the White Tiger clan was ranked first. However, the successors of the White Tiger clan had yet to board at this time. Yet, Chen Chen's group had already been given the best room. What would the successors of the White Tiger clan think? They would probably be irked. The Wuxia clan was clearly trying to sow discord and create trouble among the 8 clans in the north. We'll stay then. The Tianyun clan is not so weak as to be too afraid to stay in a guest room. Elder Zhao rolled his eyes at Sun Tiangang and finally made his decision. Chen Chen, who was standing at the side, also nodded slightly while the two of them took the lead to enter the guest room. Sun Tiangang and Zhang Ji both looked at each other in confusion, not understanding the meaning of Elder Zhao's words. At last, they had no choice but to shake their heads and follow behind with a look of bewilderment on each of their faces. The heavenly guest room was extremely spacious. It was a large suite and had plenty of space for 4. Each of the group members had a different expression upon entering. After entering, Zhang Ji whispered, "Big brother, why do I feel that it is not as luxurious as the Spring Breeze Pavilion in Blue Wind City? The Spring Breeze Pavilion is part of the mortal world, so it's very fancy. Any bed in this room is worth a few Spring Breeze Pavilions." Chen Chen shook his head as a response. If he had seen correctly, even the table which was across the room was made of an entire slab of spirit stone, worth no less than 1,000 spirit stones. It was just a guest room and yet, it was so well equipped. Clearly, the Wuxia clan had a strong background. After seeing the accommodation, Elder Zhao and Sun Tiangang remained indoors to cultivate while Chen Chen and Zhang Ji returned to the deck. At this moment, the 6 successors were standing by the railing of the deck and looking down at the scenery below. Chen Chen leaned over the ledge. "System, apart from myself, who is the strongest within the nearest 30 meters? Yulanxin, who's 12 meters towards the left in front of you. Her status of cultivation is in the late stage of foundation building." Hearing the system's answer, Chen Chen looked towards the back of the figure in the distance who was wearing a black veil. She was simply a replica of his master's wife. Even their clothing style was the same. Since Yulanxin was the strongest, it meant that the information given by his master was correct. Apart from the Tianyun clan and the White Tiger clan, the successors of the other 6 clans were not too competent. According to the information, 4 of the 6 successors were in the late stage of foundation building, while the other 2 were in the middle of foundation building. Those who were in the late stage of foundation building were all right, but those who were in the middle stage were too weak. Of course, if he did not join the Tianyun clan, the Tianyun clan would probably have only sent Sun Tiangang. However, they would definitely overwhelm Sun Tiangang with resources to allow him to surge to the late stage of foundation building. Seemingly sensing that someone was looking at her, Yulanxin turned around and saw that it was Chen Chen. A trace of curiosity flashed in her eyes, and she took the initiative to approach Chen Chen before bowing to him. "Greetings senior brother Chen, I'm Lanxin. Master has mentioned to me that Chen Chen, a disciple of the Tianyun clan, is incredibly talented. After meeting you today, I realize that you really live up to your name." Chen Chen was slightly stunned to hear her words, as he did not expect this seemingly aloof successor to approach him and curry favor with him right away. Just as he was about to answer with some compliments, Yulanxin suddenly lowered her voice again. "Senior brother Chen, Master has already instructed me that no matter what happens on this trip, all the people of the Yushui clan will be following your lead. Ha! Chen Chen was a bit surprised. This trip actually concerned the rise and fall of a clan. Yet, his master's wife actually gave such an order. Do I look that trustworthy? However, since she had taken the initiative to approach him, there was no reason for him to refute. After all, more people meant more strength. After thinking about it, Chen Chen responded with a smile, "You're being too polite, junior sister, you and I are on the same side to begin with. Of course we should work together." "Senior brother, you're right. What do you think of this trip?" Yu Lanxin asked again. The two of them began chatting on the deck with each other. In the beginning, Yu Lanxin merely wanted to get to know Chen Chen better, but as the two continued to talk, she couldn't stop. She was looking forward to getting to know him better because he seemed to always think differently from others and would say shocking things. No wonder Master said that this guy is not a good person and wants me to listen less to his nonsense. Lest I get cheated. Now it seems that what she said is true. Yu Lanxin looked at Chen Chen, who was giving out instructions, secretly keeping her guard up. At this moment, the flying boat suddenly stopped as the elders of the Wuxia clan alighted from the boat together with Duan Bing. Chen Chen looked down, only to see the deep mountains and old forests below. There was a majestic building in the midst of the deep mountains and old forests. This is the White Tiger clan, which ranks first among the 8 clans in the north and third among the 36 clans of state of Jin. Chen Chen muttered. Looking at the land below, he didn't think that the White Tiger clan's territory was any better than that of the Tianyun clan. Just as he was about to look through the clouds to observe the scene below, a violent fluctuation of ethereality came from below. After about 5 minutes, the ethereality fluctuation disappeared. After another 3 minutes, Duan Bing, an elder Han of the Wuxia clan, got back onto the flying boat. However, this time, Duan Bing was in a worse state than he was when boarding at the Tianyun clan. Not only was his face swollen after being beaten up terribly, he even lost a tooth and anger was written all over his face. 4 people were following behind him. The leader of the 4 was a man who was wearing a set of white full-dot body armor. His entire face was covered by the armor, with only an indifferent pair of eyes exposed. The more impressive thing was that he would emit a cold and domineering aura at all times, which seemed more murderous as opposed to the chilliness of the supreme Wangqing Dao. Duan Bing could not help but shudder. Several other saints and successors on the deck became visibly horrified and fearful when they caught sight of the armored man, as they subconsciously took a few steps back. The armored man was famous among the 8 clans of the north, known to all as a murderous elite, the best of his generation. He was Yi Wuxian, the successor of the White Tiger clan. Chapter 80. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Dragon Boat Translation Editor. Dragon Boat Translation. Yi Wuxian, White Tiger Holy Spirit body at the peak of the Foundation Establishment realm and cultivates the White Tiger Battle Heavenly Technique. Countless disciples of the Demon Clan were killed by him. 2 years ago, he killed the young master of the 3rd Division of the Demon Clan in the middle of a great battle. He's an expert within the younger generation. Chen Chen looked at the armored man and recalled the information that his master had told him. The difference between the successors was also massive, and some of them were just stand-ins for the real successors. How strong could those successors be? Yi Wuxian, who was standing in front, was a true successor who was highly valued by the White Tiger clan since his early days of cultivation. Not to mention, he was also a huge fan of battles and had been through countless battles before. Over time, he had gained a very expansive collection of battle experiences. Under such circumstances, it was normal for Duan Bing to be beaten up badly. Yi Wuxian was wearing a full suit of armor and following behind a disciple of the Wuxia clan. Soon, they arrived at the residence that the Wuxia clan had arranged for them. Upon sight of the sign of the guest room, an old man behind Yi Wuxian immediately flew into a rage. Birth guest room. What do you mean? The Wuxia clan disciple couldn't help but shiver when a golden core powerhouse glanced at him with a deathly stare. He then said carefully, "The heavenly room is occupied by several people from the Tianyun clan. Elder Han and senior brother Duan think that the successor of the Tianyun clan is the strongest successor on this trip, so he deserves to stay in the heavenly room." As soon as he said those words, the 4 people from the White Tiger clan all turned towards him at the same time, not hiding the icy coldness in their eyes at all. One of the accompanying disciples even said directly, "What a joke, senior brother Yi is the recognized #1 cultivator of the young generation in the 8 northern sects, can you be more clever in your means of sowing discord?" Another accompanying disciple chimed in, "Yes, and even if you give the heavenly guest room to the Tianyun clan, would they dare to stay there?" Hearing the question, the Wuxia clan disciple smiled awkwardly and responded, "They're obviously competent, why wouldn't they dare?" "You!" The 2 accompanying disciples hollered furiously before turning to look at the crowd. Moments later, they saw Chen Chen. Seeing this scene, Duan Bing, who had been beaten up and bruised badly, grew excited and began yelling in his heart. "Fight! Fight!" However, things didn't go as planned, and just as the 2 accompanying disciples were about to go and question Chen Chen, Yi Wuxian, who had been staying silent, spoke up. "Go in." After speaking coldly, Yi Wuxian stared at Chen Chen coldly and then turned around to enter the Earth guest room. Seeing this, the other 3, even the Golden Core Elder, could only follow behind in silence. "Oh gosh! He scared the wits out of me." After waiting for Yi Wuxian to leave, Yu Lanxin suddenly patted her chest with fear. After doing so, she seemed to realize that she had lost her composure and quickly put on a look of aloofness again. Looking at this scene, the corners of Chen Chen's eyes twitched. He reckoned that she had probably just been pretending to be aloof all along. She herself was the only one who knew how silly she was. Thinking of this, Chen Chen's face gradually became cold while the gaze in his eyes became deeper. Fortunately, he was already really cold and aloof, so he didn't have to pretend. Seeing Chen Chen's indifference, Yu Lanxin said in surprise, "Senior brother Chen, Yi Wuxian just shot you such a murderous glance. Aren't you afraid?" "Oh. Is that so? Too bad, I don't fear anyone in the younger generation of the state of Jin." Chen Chen said coldly, with a bolt of lightning flashing in his eyes. It was real lightning that was blue in color, crackling and popping. Yu Lanxin stared wide-eyed with shock, unable to maintain the aloof expression on her face. "Sorry, the energy in my body is too massive to be contained. It will spill out from time to time." After he spoke calmly, Chen Chen could no longer be bothered to entertain Yu Lanxin. Instead, he began walking towards the heavenly guest room slowly while Yu Lanxin stared at his mysterious back. The way he walked suavely was exactly the same as the way Yi Wuxian walked. Meanwhile, in the king's palace in the capital of the state of Jin, there was an old man and a young man sitting on the ground before the throne with an indifferent expression. The old man then said indifferently, "Xianxia, the elites of the 35 clans should be on their way. The preparations made in the capital should almost be done as well. They're just a bunch of bumpkins." "Master, you're insulting the word elite by calling them so," the young man said in a deep voice without disdain in his eyes. He simply said so calmly, as if he was just stating facts. "A few of them are not bad, especially Lin Jin from the Green Dragon sect and Yi Wuxian from the White Tiger clan, both of whom have strength close to the perfected stage of foundation establishment. This time, they are reopening the battle of the ranking of the 36 clans during your ascension to the throne. They might be the only variables," the elder explained with a glow in his eyes. The ranking of the 36 clans was set hundreds of years ago. In the past hundreds of years, too much had happened and some clans fell while some rose. The previous rankings were no longer accurate. Of course, the Wuxia clan did not care about the ranking. The so-called ranking battle was just an excuse. The ranking battle was open to all clans in the state of Jin, not only the 36 clans. The Wuxia clan had already supported several clans so that when the ranking battle really began, the few clans would allow them to get rid of those that defied the Wuxia clan. When the time came for them to force those clans to give up the mountains that were rich in spiritual energy, they would be able to justify their actions. The other wavering sects would naturally stand on the Wuxia clan's side after watching from the side. It was also the most gentle way that the Wuxia clan could unify the 36 sections. It was the best strategy. Getting violent and physical right away would not be a good choice, as the other demon clans could take advantage. Don't worry, Master, if the Green Dragon clan and the White Tiger clan refuse to be unified, I will severely injure Lin Jin or Yi Wuxian before challenging the other sections. The plan will be foolproof. At this moment, the corners of the young man's mouth curled slightly, and for once, there was an expression on his face. Looking at the young man in front of him, the old man felt heartened and relieved. After thousands of years, a suitable candidate for practicing the supreme Wang Qing Dao had finally appeared in the royal family, allowing the Wuxia clan's force to enter the impenetrable royal family. Without the restraint of the royal family, it would be a perfect opportunity for the Wuxia clan to unify the 36 sections. Now, they were just missing one last element. Once it was completed, the state of Jin would be politically and religiously unified like the state of Zhou, while the clan master of the Wuxia clan would become the king. The Wuxia clan would also become the ultimate leader within the state of Jin. You naturally have to fight. During the ranking battle, you must show formidable strength, so as to deter those wavering clans. At this point, they do not know about the ranking battle yet, and you happen to have made preparations. You must understand that you have to devote all your strength. The old man said with a smile. Seeing that the master who practiced the supreme Wang Qing Dao was laughing, the young man grew a little surprised, even becoming distracted for a short moment. His expression suddenly became ferocious. Don't worry, Master, those who obey me will prosper, those who disobey me will die. My Wuxia clan is determined to unify the 36 sections.